At the heart of every celebration, there's usually cake. At least in my house there is, because cake is one of my favorite desserts, and learning how to properly frost one is something I think every home cook should know how to do. So let's go through the basic tools you'll need, a few tips, and learning that essential skill that will surely impress both you and your guests. So first you're going to need cake, a couple of layers, 2 or 3 will be great. Buttercream or other frosting, or if you're going to put filling in between your layers. Some offset spatulas, I like having both a large one and a smaller one, a bench scraper, and some sprinkles. If you want to go the extra mile, consider investing in a cake turntable, which is going to give you those super smooth sides and make it a little easier to frost your cake, and some piping bags and some tips if you want to do some decorative flourishes. If you learn anything from this video, this is the one thing I want you to learn. Cake must be cold before you frost it. If you try and frost a warm cake, it's going to split, crack, tear, crumble, and you're going to think it's an extremely difficult task. I stick my layers in the freezer. It will eliminate those problems and make frosting a cake so much easier. Another thing that might make things easier is investing in some cake rounds. By having a cake round underneath your cake, it will be easier to transfer it from your turntable to a cake stand. While your cake should be cold, remember that your frosting should be room temperature so that it's easy to spread. You're going to add about a half a cup of frosting in the center of the cake layer. Using your offset spatula, you want to make sure that the tip of it really only touches the frosting and never the surface of the cake. After you've spread the frosting evenly on the bottom layer, go ahead and add the next layer and repeat the same process. It's okay if you have a little bit of frosting that spills over on the sides, because we'll end up smoothing that around and it'll all be incorporated. Now remember, this is the crumb coat. So the purpose of this initial frosting is to take care of any of those pesky crumbs. So make sure you do a nice tight frosting, and once it's done, you transfer it to the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes to an hour to allow that crumb coat to set. After your crumb coat is set, you'll come back to your work surface, add a generous amount of frosting starting on the top of the cake, and smooth it out applying those same techniques. Remember, it's fine to have that frosting cascade over the side because you'll end up smoothing the sides as well. This is your final layer of frosting, and so this is the real showstopper. This is where you want those nice smooth lines. Now when it comes to getting those smooth sides, finish off with a bench scraper. Holding it at about a 45-degree angle, you can spin your cake turntable and get a really nice smooth finish. I love using a bench scraper for this, but if you don't have one, you could absolutely use your offset spatula. Now, one tip for getting those smooth lines is to get a cup of really hot water. Dip your offset spatula into the water, give it a good shake, and smooth the side. You'll notice a really nice matte finish, and that's what's going to give you that bakery look, that real professional touch. Now it's up to you how you want your cake to look when it's finished. I like somewhat of this semi-naked look, so you see some of the cake peeking through, but if you don't like this and you want it more covered, just add a bit more frosting. To finish it off, add your sprinkles on top, and if you want a little extra credit, you can do a simple border at the base of the cake. And that's it, you frosted a cake. Time to give yourself a high five and dive in.